Alright, so in this video, I want to make a giant graphical leap in our project and change it so that we don't have this capsule with a red cone stuck to its face, and instead we have a actual character model that animates. And the point will be to show you how to set up the animations and import the model and everything like that into your project. Now, so for these purposes, we are going to use a really cool resource called Mixamo. And so if you go to Mixamo, it'll make you make an Adobe account, but this resource is free. You don't have to have like a Creative Cloud account or anything like that. And frankly, it's a very useful, powerful resource. So it's really amazing that it's free. Now, the first thing we're going to do is choose a character, but I guess it's important to understand that the Mixamo characters are not the only characters that will work for the Mixamo animations. So if you set up your rig, which is kind of like the skeleton and bones and joints of your character kind of underneath its model, if you set up the rig to work with these animations so it's compatible, you can use these animations for any character that has a compatible rig. So it's really awesome. There's like an incredible amount of things in here that you can search through or just page through, but there's probably so many that you want to search. So anyway, step one, we'll get back to the animations, but step one is going to be download a character. I'm going to pick this character called Sophie. I don't really know why. I just clicked it, and I think one thing that will, like, ultimately what I want to do in this demo, I think, is like we can make like a flashlight feature and then like an aiming, like over the shoulder switch, sort of like so our camera kind of zooms in tighter and aims to kind of show how to do that kind of a transition with Cinemachine. So I wanted to pick a character that would like make sense in like a spooky environment that could, be holding a flashlight. I don't know. So I just picked this one. Pick anything you want. And I will download it. And we're going to make sure basically, to be honest, I don't even know what the difference between these two choices are. I didn't realize there was one that said for Unity. So let's go ahead and do for Unity. I've never tried that before, but maybe it's even better. And we want to use T-pose here, and so we'll download it. So this will download just like the model in a T-pose. So we won't have any animations. You'll see what I mean. I'll pause it while it's downloading. Okay, so I've finished downloading. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find Unity, and I'll stop my game. And I'm going to go back into my assets directory, and I have a new type of asset. It's going to be a model. So I'm going to right click and make a new folder. I'm going to call it models. And this is where I will store all of the models I want to use in my game. And so normally with Unity, you want to use the FBX file extension for models, which is what we got in this download. And I changed the name a little bit to just add this for Unity here to remind me that I chose that option this time. So I actually have both versions. I have the FBX that's the default and the FBX that's quote unquote for Unity. And maybe since I've tried this earlier, maybe I'll realize what's different, but maybe I won't. I don't know, because it worked fine the first time. So right away when you click on it, you're going to notice some things that aren't looking quite right? We have the character, it's in its T-pose, which I expect, but it has no textures on it or no materials applied, seemingly. It's just all gray. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag it into my scene, and you'll see the same issue. And in order to fix it, what you can do is you select the model here, and we're going to go to where it says materials, and we're going to choose extract textures. So this is not a thing you have to do universally for every model in Unity. It's a thing you pretty much need to do universally to get models from Mixamo to work. And so what it's going to happen when I do this is it's going to extract the texture files that are stored in this FBX into its own directory. And so I'm going to make a new directory called textures, because that's another new type of asset. So I'm going to make sure I'm in my assets folder. I'm going to choose new folder. I'm going to call it textures. I'm going to open this up because in a game you might have a lot of textures. So I'm going to make another subfolder in here, and I'm going to call it Sophie because that was the name of this character, and based on whatever it was called in Mixamo. Somewhere it said, yeah, Sophie, that's Sophie. So anyway, and I will extract the textures for the Sophie FBX into the Sophie folder I made in my new textures directory. And if we're lucky, it'll just instantly be fixed, which it looks like it was. I've seen some situations where it takes some extra steps, but I'm not going to go into them since it seems like it instantly worked, and maybe those steps are no longer needed. But if you get one that doesn't work, feel free to, message me, and I can point you in the right direction. So anyway, I will go ahead and take Unity's suggestion here that this material is a normal map, and we should mark it as a normal map. So I'm just going to choose Fix Now. And everything's pretty much looking good to me. I like the textures are applied. Sometimes you get weird things where the eyeballs are like gone, but everything seems, I think it's right. I am not a pro, so maybe if you made the Sophie model, you'd be like, wait a minute, something's off. But as far as I can tell, it's looking good. So if we were to run the game right now, you'll see Sophie is just limited to this T-pose. Let me go to my scene. Well, you can see her there. So there's Sophie. That's all she can do right now. She has no collider. She has nothing. She's just a character in a T-pose. That's good enough for now. This is kind of a big addition to our game. So I'm going to save the scene since I added Sophie. And I'll do save project just in case something needs that. Like maybe the textures need save project to show up correctly. It's just in case, we'll say. And I'm going to add a note here in my commit that says I added the Sophie model and textures. And I'm going to commit that because this is like, normally I like to keep my art commits like distinct from functionality commits in case I ever want somebody to review my code or something like that. They're not going to have to look through all these changes that don't have anything useful to review. So let's go ahead and commit this thing before we make any more functionality changes. And then I guess I can go ahead and stop this video here, and we'll kind of get into the animations in part 2.